And yeah, man, we're just jumping into it raw. We're not even doing like the stream starting soon. Like we're just, hi, hello, it's pre-show. We're here. I'm going to get the YouTube open. I'm going to reblog the live now. And then I'm going to show you guys what I made for myself for dinner. I think everyone here will approve.
I went to the local taco truck, and he does a great job. But I will say I have been farting a lot.
I heard you talking about something with your partner there, and it was something about making you gassy, and I was just like, oh, it's a good thing we're not on pre-show, but here you are, just like, yeah, man, I'm just out here farting. And you know what, man? Me too.
I've got a pretty strong constitution.
Yeah, I make sure I get a lot of fiber in my diet, like on purpose. So
what the macros I saw the other day was that like the average US male, let me look this up. Protein and fiber macros.
and like,
So the average US male consumes approximately 100 grams of protein daily, about 16% of their total calories, but only 10 to 16 grams of fiber.
Yeah, no, you need more fiber.
This protein intake exceeds the minimum recommended dietary allowance of 56 grams, but fiber intake is significantly below the 30 to 38 grams.
So when for example, when you eat Taco Bell, does that destroy your stomach, or are you pretty good with it?
Honestly, I have not had Taco Bell in years.
So
maybe the better part of a decade, actually.
Fair enough. Also, flex. Okay.
What I just ate is probably the closest thing I eat to Taco Bell.
Fair enough.
At the local taco truck, whatever.
So a lot of people will complain they'll have Taco Bell, and they'll complain that like they're just shitting and farting, like it just destroys their digestive system. And the reason they probably experience this, like it does depend on what you get, but if you're getting something with like refried beans, for example, those are pretty fiber like rich. And a lot of people just aren't used to that, so they think, oh, it's the food being harsh, and it's like, no, you're actually probably experiencing what it's like to eat like a healthy amount of fiber for once. So your body's like, whoa, and you're just shitting and farting.
Ate just like a normal amount of fiber
regularly,
daily,
you wouldn't have this problem. You'd be fine. Like, yeah, it's just you got to up your fiber intake. Like, that's the thing. I mean, we see protein everything everywhere. Like, they have fucking protein coffee, protein waffles, protein bread. Like, what if they don't come out with protein vapes in the next like 2 to 3 years? I'll be shocked. And you know what? I would try that. Could you imagine like a bacon flavored protein vape? Oh my god, dude.
Gen Alpha Brit bongs are not allowed to have protein vapes.
That's right. No protein vapes, no vapes, no cigarettes, no chewing tobacco, nothing. Which, might be a fairly lucrative black market opportunity. And we might know somebody in the United Kingdom who might be able to get us an in there. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with that?
Technically, they have an infinitely long coastline, so
they
how
do.
are we supposed to patrol it?
Exactly. Yeah. Like you don't have that many boats anymore. Listen, we know
you can let as many former ISIS terrorists over on rubber dinghies as possible. But if somebody's sneaking, American rifles and tobacco patches, like that has to get shut down immediately.
We also need to bring them some alcohol so that we can say it's like the underground ATF. The black market delivery.
Just like every single boat has to have at least one handle of bourbon on it.
Mm-hmm. So you can come ashore and say, "Hey, we're the ATF. Here's your shipment. Here's your shipment. Here's your alcohol. Here's your tobacco. Here's your firearms."
This should be an officially government-sponsored program.
It should.
To be real, like let's just repurpose the ATF.
That's another thing. So in Ancapistan, of course, I would say probably one of the primary exports would be like running things to black markets in other countries, like guns, alcohol, tobacco, marijuana. Probably At least in my Ancapistan, we won't be doing prostitution or anything of that vein, just because like that's a whole other animal. Like if you're trafficking just items, that's fine. But like you don't want to really get involved with people too much. But yeah, firearms, tobacco, alcohol, marijuana, maybe some lighter psychedelics. That I feel like that would be a good GDP model for Ancapistan. Like the line would on the graph would definitely go up.
Yeah, I see that.
Which is kind of like the Belkin model, if you're familiar with Ace Combat at all. But
no, I have to look that
Okay.
up. That's intriguing. But I would say, everybody's really shy about trading in people or labor or something like that. But it's like,
well,
there are a lot of labor arrangements that are like currently illegal that would be perfectly moral in Ancapistan. And some folks might thrive under it.
See, that's another thing. Like people are like, oh, the disabled in Ancapistan, they're just going to get put down because it's not profitable to keep them alive. It absolutely is. Do you know how many bakeries are run by people with Down syndrome? They're fantastic. They do so well. And all the employees, like, employee morale is always high when you're making cookies and cake all day. And like, come on, like,
I'll be real. Like the average person with Down syndrome is probably higher functioning than most like drug addicts and like homeless people.
Probably, actually, yeah.
Actually, I don't even need to speculate on that.
Yeah.
The average person with Down syndrome or other forms of mental, handicap, whatever you want to call it, is higher functioning than most people who have like a severe emotional, addiction or something like that. Because who do you find? You don't find like you walk around and like, or you see those videos of like homeless people and drug addicts in like major cities. It's not Down syndrome people.
Yeah.
Like they are actually like thriving, like having a great time, like doing like work at the grocery store or like you said, the bakery.
Like yeah.
And then like, yeah, it's just these like perpetual hippies that want to party every night and live in a tent.
Exactly, man.
Can't get their shit together.
Exactly. Well,
and live for free on the public sidewalk that would be privatized in Ancapistan.
Exactly.
And trauma team would take them to a work camp in the desert.
They could harvest marijuana and corn, and they could just in general pick vegetables.
If they don't want to donate labor, then they could just donate a kidney or something.
Yeah, something like that. Or like if they're just like, man, I'm out. They can be swiftly taken to the borders of Ancapistan into the New York State prison, which is just the state of New York is just a massive prison. Like it's bordered on all sides. Not just New York City, it's New York State. Like it's the whole thing. Like there's Canadian boats in the Great Lakes every day, just like torpedoing refugee rafts because they're just like, nope, not today, man, not happening.
Listen, we'll take 10 million Sikhs from like the Punjab,
but not a single New Yorker.
One refugee boat comes over Lake Erie.
Absolutely not. It's over. We're using whole ass torpedoes on them refugee rafts, man. We're gonna make that little dinghy cavitate.
It put the Canadian armed forces in total tip-top shape from where they are right now.
Exactly. Just a little combative experience,
just machine gunning, dinghy boats of
New York refugees in Lake Ontario. Just to think, we're only 5 to 10 years out from that, and it's all because of ethics in journalism, gaming journalism specifically. All right. Before we can do the intro, I just want to show off that I was trying to make a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich, but my lettuce went bad. So I basically just have a B&T here. Just bacon, tomato.
Bacon and tomato?
Yeah.
That's great.
It's still good. Like I
put a little mayo on?
Oh, a little mayo, brother. Fellow Caucasian brother, a little mayo. Like, I'm smothering this bitch.
by a little mayo, I mean enough to choke on if you were to have a full spoonful, you know?
Mm-hmm. Like if I was out of industrial grade lubricant and I had to like pack some ball bearings, I get the mayo. And baby, them balls would slide. All right, I'm going to do the intro. And I guess we'll talk about that whole Strait of Hormuz thing. I guess that's a thing we can talk about. Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Altar. Episode 209, I believe. Yes. So, the title of the episode is Schrodinger's Pool, because as we know, the pool is both open and closed right now at all times to all traffic and no one. We don't really like. What is the current status? Like right now, this hour, because it changes literally by the hour. It's open, it's closed. You can go, you can't. There are ships getting through. They're not.
I mean, we always broadcast like around a Wednesday, right? So, I think this war has to be cataloged in weekends because that is the only action time that Trump has. He has to always open and close whatever move he's going to do over a weekend because he doesn't want markets to react too strongly to whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, I have no idea outside of like tit for tat. Okay, here we go. Tit for tat assaults on shipping widen. U.S. intercepts 3 more illicit tankers in Asian waters. Iran seizes additional 2 in Hormuz. At least 2 fully laden Iranian tankers slipped past the U.S. naval blockade amid reports of more going dark. Pentagon denies this report. Reports of 3 more Iranian tankers being seized by the U.S. in Asian waters. Iran, in turn, seizes 2 more ships in the Hormuz, citing dangerous navigation. Trump extends ceasefire by 3 to 5 days, which is to say, like, if it's only 3 days, like, it'll expire Friday.
Ha! Yep.
And if it resumes in 5 days, it'll be Monday because he wants it to only happen over the weekend. IRGC seizes Francesca and a Greek-owned ship named Euphoria. Oh, they seized Euphoria.
Oh, man.
Which had been attempting to transit Hormuz earlier today. Within hours, a 3rd ship came under fire by the IRGC. Senior Iranian advisor says the U.S. naval blockade is no different than bombing and must be met with a military response. Competitive narratives emerge over what Iran calls fake news as Trump hails release of 8 Iranian women said to be facing the death penalty.
Interesting. So it's closed.
It's closed and open at the same time. I think this is just a great thing for Earth Day.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you remember that today's Earth Day.
I did remember.
And
yes.
We should totally be launching ground to sea missiles at oil tankers.
You see, the Earth is hungry, and we must feed them tankers.
The ocean craves
oil,
raw crude petroleum.
Look, we took all that shit out of the Earth. It's only right that we put it back in. And we can't just stuff it back into the ground. You got to put it into the water so that it filters out into the Earth as a whole.
I hate to say it, but in a long-term like bioavailability viewpoint, like injecting just crude petroleum into the environment does increase the amount of organic compounds that are available for life forms to form. All organic compounds, I should say most organic compounds that we extract, especially oil, used to be life forms on the Earth's surface that got buried, right? And if you look at long-term projection or long-term data of CO2 in the Earth's atmosphere, as stored in bubbles and ice and mud, we are actually in a drought of available carbon dioxide right now.
Really?
and it's if the pre-industrial trends continued, then essentially we would just run out of carbon dioxide for plants to grow at a certain point. Like if it was only 100 parts per million or less, like that would be like they have to inject CO2 into greenhouses to help plants grow. Most plants long-term biologically evolved for somewhere between 4 to 1,000 parts per million of CO2, if you're not aware. And that's what they put in greenhouses, is they inject CO2. But yeah, just long term. But in the immediate, consequences of like all the wildlife being covered in like complex hydrocarbons that are like definitely cancerous immediately to them before they break down, like benzene and shit like that. Like, yeah, everything would die.
Oh, absolutely. But can you imagine the advertising opportunities for Dawn dish soap? Just amazing. It's always a silver lining.
Think about it. Yeah, there's a great advertising opportunity for Dawn.
What else happened over the last week?
There was the Virginia thing.
Oh, the redistricting, right? Yeah, that passed. What is it? 51 to 49%. This is how democracy works, guys. Like 51% of the state votes to gerrymander the counties to take away 90% of the political representation from the other 49% of the state. That's exactly how democracy is supposed to work. Democracy.
Well, okay, so the Virginia court voided the amendment referendum on redistricting.
Really? Already?
Already. Ruling that the amendment process was unlawful and blocked certification of the election results. Which is to say, like, if you looked at the wording of the ballot referendum, like it was very, like if any other question was phrased this way, like it would immediately get rejected from appearing on the ballot with the verbiage of like, shall we make the voting more equitable? And it's like, how do people vote against that?
Exactly. Yeah. I also saw
say, oh, it's more equitable when I get 9 seats to your 1 seat, even though your party represents like
49% of the state. So did you also see that Virginia, passed a law where whatever the popular vote is, as far as the country goes in a presidential election, the popular vote automatically. Can you imagine what happens? Like, let's say Virginia goes blue for some reason and votes for like a Democratic president, but a Republican candidate in the future wins the popular vote. Can you imagine how that will go?
Well, okay, here's the deal about that. I think it has the caveat that it only goes into effect when a majority of states that agree to that principle
also do that.
Have also enacted that referendum.
Oh, so if the other states, like if there's not a majority of states doing it, then that would not happen. Like the electorates would go towards. Oh wow. Okay.
So the thing is, like, that has already passed in places like Colorado and California and Oregon and Maryland and whatever. And so yeah, there's this national popular vote thing, but it only gets triggered when like a majority of elector votes would of the states who have enacted it, the majority of votes would be plausible to flip at that point. So for in the meantime, they just like get to say, hey, we have national popular vote. But like there's this entire delusion, I think, about electorates and the functions of different institutions. And it's just like we only have democracy. and there's no idea that in within certain circles that like states aren't just voting districts; they're actually unique electoral institutions outside of cities and counties and um, stuff like that that exist independent. Like it's the idea that states exist without the United States is
Mm,
just totally foreign to this ideology. And it's like, do you think like Wyoming and New Hampshire and Idaho and Utah are just going to play along with this national vote scheme
mm.
at the end of the day, because democracy worked from sea to shining sea? Or is there going to be some point where they say, we're no longer participating?
Yeah.
This we entered a contract based on this system, and that gives us outweighed representation in
Mm-hmm.
this particular aspect. And if you're not going to recognize that, then we don't need to participate anymore. So bye.
And for that reason, we are out. Oh, fun
There
times.
was a very interesting video, and I know you don't watch a lot of YouTube video
Mm.
essays like I do because I have no life. Um,
Well, I'm not saying I'm not doing other things that aren't, equally as that, but I just it's less of a I don't watch videos or anything, and it's more of a I just like to read, so I'll read stupid shit, but like not that that's stupid, but you know what I mean.
really fair. But have have I talked to you or asked you about what if alt hist before?
I feel like you've brought it up.
So he's like a social commentator, like kind of younger millennial Zoomer aged guy who
Mm,
does his channel name is basically "What If Alt History"
mm,
is what it originally started as, but then he gets into speculating future events,
mm,
and he's remarkably well read. Like
mm,
actually reads books and stuff like that, and has talked about one of the main points that he's rapped on for the last year and a half or so has been that the U.S. is at like this precipice of civil war,
mm.
and that we're not actually achieving that. So the video he had today, just too long didn't read because he does ramble, and he is a little bit
I mean,
self-important.
how dare he ramble and be self-important? I mean, we never do that.
But the too long didn't read is basically like we live in mouse utopia. Have you heard of this?
I've heard of Mouse Utopia, yes.
And essentially everybody's too sedated to like actually push over the hill
Hmm.
and like start the like rolling ball towards civil war in the United States. But like it's hard to gauge where everything is because it's like you would have to like walk around and chat with everyone and be like, how invested are you in maintaining the institutions around you versus like how much are you willing to give up to actually change those institutions?
Hmm.
And like that's the seesaw that everybody's on. I don't know where I started with that.
We were talking about Mouse Utopia, about like what if alt hissed about a video he was putting out.
Well, yeah,
Um,
I was trying to give you the too long didn't read a version of that.
okay, no, I got you. But no, that I can't say I disagree with that. Like again, being familiar with the Mouse Utopia experiment, like I see the similarities, but there's also kind of been like a little bit, at least in my opinion, it's just like, well, mice and humans are kind of different socially. like there are some similarities there, but I feel like human society is a little more complex. So it's not like I don't know.
Oh, it's definitely way more complex, right? But
Yeah, I like
I
it's an
think
it. Sorry, go ahead.
if you take a social pack animal
Hmm.
and then give them unlimited free shit and see what happens to them,
Hmm.
like that has like there's still a mammalian base brain, right? That
Hmm.
I I think you're gonna cover not like 100% of outcomes, obviously. It's not 1-to-1, but you're gonna cover like maybe 40 to 60% of outcomes.
Hmm.
I think that's fair. Like human society might be complex, but it's not infinitely complex compared to like mouse society.
Hmm.
Like it's like a couple layers of magnitudes of complexity over it.
Hmm.
But yeah.
To get a true 1-to-1, I think we need to start developing cell phones for mice, smartphones specifically. We should give them to mice.
Yes, exactly.
And what else?
Or we do a Scopes cell phone trial.
Oh,
We give chimps cell phones and see how happy they are in the zoo.
exactly. Chimp suicide skyrockets 300% in 3 months.
Chimp fent overdose rate.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's the other thing. Actually, we need to give the mice Fent and the chimps Fent. Cell phones and Fent. That's it right there. That'll do more damage to the community than crack ever could. Oh, there was another thing that happened over the week. Did you hear about the Southern Poverty Law Center?
Yes.
Yeah,
I thought
so
this might be like one of the big things we talked about.
yeah, the Southern Poverty Law Center, for those of you who didn't hear, got caught donating to various, well, not donating outright to various hate groups, but they were in turn funding various hate groups, including the KKK, to essentially keep them going and keep them producing hate crimes or whatever the fuck you want to call it so that they have something to do. And specifically, they had ties to one of the individuals who was responsible for organizing the Charlestown protest, where all of those neo Nazis or wherever the hell they even were, and then that like one dude in the Challenger like hit that fat chick with a car, and they were like, "Oh, you ran her over and killed her." And it's like, no, she was alive after the fact. She probably just like died of a heart attack from getting hit by a fucking car at a riot, essentially. So like he went to jail for that. It was like the whole thing. And oh yeah, one of the leaders of that event who staged that protest was receiving money from the Southern Poverty Law Center. And they were also doing it, like I said, with the KKK and various other things. And you would think people would be a little more relieved, especially on the left, to learn that the country is not as racist as they thought it was. And some of this was, in fact, astroturfed for profit.
Here's the thing: you got to respect the hustle from
Gotta
Jesse
respect the hustle.
Smollett.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, this is.
That he was manufacturing his own hate crimes without getting funded by the
Yeah, he was
SPLC.
doing this pro bono. Like, if only he had been a member of the SPLC, like, if he had their resources, he'd be okay. He would have gotten away with it.
Uh, but like it's like one of the most obvious things I think that people have noticed is that like all of the like just overtly like racist, anti-Semitic, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like in-person events that happen are all just like so manufactured.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing spontaneous about them. Anything that actually gets organized along those lines immediately has like a Fed informant in it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so like finding out that like all of these meetings are probably just like one SPLC like agitator getting like paid crisis actor, like talking to an ATF and like a FBI and a like
DEA.
DOJ agent like simultaneously, who are all undercover and don't know that the other one is like all our other
Did
guys
you?
are all undercover.
I don't remember what the name of the movie was, but it was like Daniel Radcliffe was in it, and he played, I'm pretty sure, like an FBI agent who goes undercover in like a neo-Nazi group, and that's essentially what happens. Like
Mhm.
towards the end, like these events keep happening, and he tries to bust them, and it turns out that like, oh, this dude is an informant for the ATF, and this dude is an informant for the DOJ.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like DEA, ATF, FBI are
Yeah.
like they each have their own plant in the group, and by the time you get to it, it's just like maybe there are like 3 or 4 like
Mhm.
dudes who are maybe
Kind of
like
down with it,
not even
actually.
down like like I said, Down syndrome's people are
Mm,
like actually higher functioning, but
exactly.
like somebody who might be like legitimately very low IQ, but
Hmm.
not Down syndrome, and just like wanted to hang out with people. Like it's their version of a bowling league. Like they just couldn't figure out like that it's supposed to be like the kidnapping plot for
Yeah,
Michigan
for
Whitmare.
Gretchen, what's her face? Yeah, exactly. That
Yeah,
like,
Gretchen Whitmer. It's like it's there's like the 2 guys who stuck around through the whole thing. They're just like they just were, uh, there for the fun. You just couldn't give up the friendship.
so somebody posted Ink and Guns on Tumblr made a post, and he was from it's a screenshot from Reddit, and it's funny because it's a 9-year-old screenshot from the Conspiratard subreddit. Alex Jones. Charlottesville was a false flag run by SPLC operatives who hired actors to pose as Nazis. And his comment was, well, my Alex Jones was right bumper sticker is correct again. And man, it just seems like we can't go more than a couple of weeks without putting $1 in that jar. Like,
Well, speaking of which, Alex Jones and conspiracies and stuff like that.
hmm.
Apparently, Tim Heidecker has become the new head of Infowars.com, which
Yeah,
was acquired
by the
in
Onion.
the lawsuit.
So yeah, the Onion now actually apparently is taking over Infowars, which I got to say is a really good way for the Onion to try to like find some relevancy in today's satirical world, because I kind of forgot they existed. If I'm going to be really honest, they were like, "Oh yeah, the Onion's buying Infowars." It's like, "Oh shit, they're still around, huh?"
Dude, I in college, and this is like 10 plus years ago,
Mm-hmm.
the Onion used to physically print the Onion paper,
Mm-hmm.
like, and put it on college campuses.
I
And
remember
you could
this.
like pick up a physical copy of the Onion and like read it like while in between class or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
It
hilarious.
was so
And I
back in the
loved
day,
it.
the Onion was genuinely hilarious.
Um and nowadays I'm just like
Oh, it's the Onion.
it's gonna be some I don't even know what the Onion has right now.
I
Let
mean,
me look.
to be fair, I really feel like the change for the Onion did come in like 2016, because they like, I don't know if they got bought or just donated like heavily to, but like they just started swinging like in lieu, not in lieu of, excuse me, in honor of Hillary Clinton, like absolutely throwing in their hat for her candidacy. And I remember a lot of people like were just kind of like, this is a satirical news site. Like, why are you like heavily endorsing a presidential candidate? And like, I guess
Oh,
they had,
that was one of
yeah.
the things. But like, okay, I went to the Onion for the first time in a long time.
Hmm.
Here's some Onion is mostly headlines. If you enjoy the headline, like you might enjoy some of the jokes that go through the rest of the couple paragraphs that they write as an article.
Hmm.
Trump posts late night Truth Social rant claiming circuses are not violent enough.
Okay, that's kind of funny.
That's
That's
okay.
decent. That's
Yeah,
decent. Yeah.
Disney promises Star Wars fans a new era of blind stabs at what they seemed to like before.
Mm. Yeah,
It's decent.
decent.
That's
No,
okay.
decent. That's passable.
I
No,
won't get a chuckle out of me, but like that's like
it's
yeah,
like honestly, like at most they'll give you like a huh, yeah.
this one's good.
Mm.
Uber driver casually mentions this is his first time driving.
That's decent. That's decent.
I like that.
That's good.
Okay, here's the thing. Like it was if it's like over 50-50, like decent little
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 bits.
jabs,
Yeah.
like that's fine.
Yeah.
Fractures emerge between GOP's pro pedophilia and extremely pro pedophilia wings.
Mm, all right. Acceptable.
Soaring gas prices forcing Americans to drink less gas.
Okay, that was good. That was good.
There's a picture of a guy with a diesel thing like up to his mouth.
Hell yeah.
Epidemiologists confirm first airborne transfer of Mar-a-Lago face. What does that even fucking mean?
Mar-a-Lago face? I don't want to
Is this
Google
some
this.
fucking joke?
I think it's a joke maybe about like
That
Laura Loomer
yeah,
or just like heavy plastic surgery.
had way too yeah, I
That's like
guess.
that's a little too. I think you got to be subscribed to several subreddits to understand that joke, and I just don't use Reddit, so I just don't get the reference.
Grinder to host White House correspondents dinner party.
Mm,
That's fair.
that's
I
fair.
I I agree with that. Regretful conservative wakes up to find out he drunkenly got Nazi tattoo removed. It's like stuff like that. Where's really
Really? Because like it's also kind of bold to run that headline when there's like a prominent Democratic candidate right now who like had a recent scandal because he had a Nazi tattoo. And he's like, "Oh,
right?
it was a past of my life," and it's just like, all right, well, I mean, conservatives, if they did have Nazi tattoos, removing them don't seem to get like a second chance. So it's just like, why? Oh, because you're a Democrat, okay. And I'm not saying people don't deserve second chances from either side, because whatever. But like, it's just no, like you can't run that headline and then just be like okay with that. Like this is one of the things too that I think like happened with the Daily Show and satirical news. Is just like you can do that, but like if you display a clear bias, people call you out on it, and like how you respond to that matters, because it's okay to just come out and be like, listen, man, yeah, like I have a political bias this way. I make jokes for people who have similar biases as me. If you don't like it and you're like, it's just not for you, that's fine. But like you made this analogy many episodes ago in the difference between like right wing tyranny or authoritarianism versus left wing authoritarianism. And right wing authoritarianism, excuse me, is very much like the people will go like, "Oh, you're a fascist or you're an authoritarian," and they'll be like, "Yeah, so what? What are you going to do about it?" And then on the left, it's, "Oh, you're a fascist or you're authoritarian and this is tyranny." It's like, no, it's not. That's not possible, you idiot. Are you crazy? You need to be locked away in an institution. Clearly, you have some sort of mental illness. And that's like the difference between this, because like again, I'm not saying you can't poke fun at the GOP. Of course you can. There's lots to make fun of with the fucking GOP. But you can't, again, that's just a prime example right there of like, if you're going to make fun of conservatives for having Nazi tattoos, you can't support a Democratic Party candidate for any sort of political office who had a Nazi tattoo. Like, you can't. You cannot do it. Like, the same grace you cannot give to someone else, you can't give to someone else. Like, sorry if that's a retarded way of putting that, but no, you can't. And that was, again, this is like a thing with like Jon Stewart, and I really feel like this touched off here because during the Bush administration, Jon Stewart and The Daily Show was probably the show to watch. Every night you
Yeah.
would listen to Jon Stewart go, making fun of George Bush. And it was funny at the time. And then Obama got into office and like the biting political commentary just stopped. And clearly he was supportive of him. And it was at first, it was just like, all right, whatever. And then as the administration went on, and it really was just like Bush with a different coat of paint, he just kind of shrugged and went, "What do you want from me? I'm just a comedian." And it was very disappointing, and it never really recovered from that. Like that kind of decline, that's why Jon Stewart wound up leaving The Daily Show
Yeah.
overall. That's why Trevor Noah had to be brought in. That's why the ratings slipped and never really came back, is because a lot of people just felt like it was hypocritical and they weren't able to kind of detach because I don't really remember if The Daily Show was running during the Clinton administration. Was it? Maybe?
No, it was
No.
not. It was. I think when did the Daily Show start? That's a great question.
Probably late 98, 99, maybe?
It's only giving me like the time it gets sent.
Daily Show.
96? Are you kidding me?
96. Wow. Okay. All right.
Craig
But
Kilborn hosted the premiere in 1996 until 98.
and then okay. But could
And
you
then
imagine like if Jon Stewart was doing the Daily Show during the
took
Clinton
over in
administration?
99.
Okay. But like during the Clinton administration, he would have made so many jokes. Like he
Oh yeah.
made plenty of Bill Clinton jokes. And like to go from that and then to start making fun of a Republican president would have been totally fine. But the fact that he couldn't make that shift and it was just like an obvious bias on his part, people were just like, "Oh, okay. You're not that different from every other fucking talking head on the television." And now, isn't he back on the Daily Show?
Who? Craig?
No, Stewart.
Yeah,
Last I heard, it was a while ago, I think, but I think he
he was
was.
doing something, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And Colbert, of course, like had a
and
run.
24, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But yeah, Colbert was like, I remember too when the Colbert Report came out, and like that was pretty funny at first, but it
He's
also,
only part-time to be since 24.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Colbert Report was decent.
Mhm.
Um when he so like his character was always supposed to be like a kind of overly earnest Republican,
Kind of like a Mormon Republican,
right?
honestly. Like,
Yeah. And then like it just got beyond the point of because here's the thing about good parody,
mhm.
which have you seen Vice?
The TV
It's
show.
the Dick Cheney movie.
No, like it looked interesting because I thought Christian Bale's like, like body transformation and like dedication to playing Dick Cheney was really interesting, but I saw clips here and there and it literally just seemed like a complete Democrat Party ego wank. Like I just
No, okay, so Judd Apatow wants
mm,
it to be that.
yeah.
The thing is that Christian Bale is like too serious of an actor to like allow that to happen
Mm,
throughout the film.
okay.
And um and like I hate Dick Cheney just as
Mm,
much as anybody else.
of
But
course.
the thing about if you're going to satirize or if you're going to portray or do an impression of anybody at a certain level, you have to understand and empathize with them. Doesn't mean you agree with them, but you have
Mm,
to actually empathize with them.
mhm.
And Christian Bale, I think he's one of the best actors ever.
For real.
Um, is able to he did whatever research he needed to do or reading or anything like that to understand Dick Cheney. And throughout the film, you want to hate Dick Cheney,
Mhm,
but the entire time you're too captivated to hate him.
mhm.
And you're like, you know what? If I was Dick Cheney, I might have done the same thing.
Wow. Okay. Maybe I do need to check this out.
Um, and and so that's where and there's still like Judd Apatow like
Mhm.
Democrat Party moments that
Sure.
happen for sure. Um, but there are some moments as I remember the film,
Hmm.
where uh they kind of say like, "Hey, Dick Cheney was not like the worst Republican that was ever existed, like for real."
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I think Christian Bale captures it,
Hmm.
where it's like, "Hey, you might like detest somebody's politics, but like you you can at a certain level if you're going to portray this character of somebody, like put yourself in their shoes where you could convince anybody." And that's the thing about all these politicians, right? Like if you their their charisma levels are generally like off the charts,
Hmm.
right? Like that's how they get that position.
Hmm.
Like you could sit down with them and they'd be able to chat you up and just be like, "Hey, here I know you disagree with me, but like this is where I'm coming from, and like can't you like for a little bit see it from my perspective?" And like he captures that pretty well.
Hmm.
I think it's worth it for just that. For also, I think isn't Rachel McAdams, was Lynn Cheney the wife?
Maybe
I forget who's the Liz Cheney is the daughter,
Liz
but
Cheney's the daughter. Yeah.
but who plays her in the film? Because they do mention her and really shit on her.
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams. Okay. Um, who am I thinking of as the wife then? Anyways, uh, yeah, I think it's worth it. But that's the thing that Colbert failed on at a certain point.
Mm.
Like he couldn't. I guess he couldn't keep it up forever, which is probably fair.
Yeah, no, it's hard to do for indefinitely.
Um, but like you there has to be like a genuine moment where you're like, actually, like there is something authentic and like real and admirable about this person's ideals that I'm being a character of. um I'm just put misguided, or like I'm going about it stupid or something like that. But then Colbert just dropped off a cliff and was just like, "Ha ha ha, isn't this stupid?" And then he just became like outright like,
A mouthpiece.
"I'm yeah, a mouthpiece."
I remember when like it was in Trump's first term, and it was after. Do you remember the 2 scoops of ice cream incident?
I'm not
So
recalling that.
it's I don't remember exactly what happened, but there was like an ice cream event at the White House, and everybody got 1 scoop of ice cream, but Trump got 2 scoops of ice cream. And Colbert like tried to make like a real serious like run of it, like comedically, and it was not really done well. Like he kind of got made fun of for it, and there was an episode not too long after that. I want to say probably within a couple months where he was pretending to get mad at the audience for something, but it came off a little too like it was like him addressing complaints from people about something. I think it was about his jokes about that because it was very much just like, who cares if he gets 2 scoops of ice cream? Like he's overweight and he's the president, so of course he's going to abuse his power to get extra ice cream. Like, and they started making like weird memes, and like you remember when memes would be deep fried, like what that term means.
Oh, like they just get overly compressed and
Yeah, like
pixelated
they
or
would
whatever.
do that to him, and it was just him making this really pissed off face. And it just kept, of course it would happen like on Reddit and 4chan. It would go back and forth, probably on Tumblr a little bit too, where they just kept making more and more ridiculous versions of him getting upset. And my favorite one, it just shows like the New York skyline, and there's this cube just like hovering in the air, and it's like rotating, and on every face is like a different Colbert just going like "Ugh!" Like just like aggravated about something. And they would post it and like make fun of him every time he would have like a skit or talk about Trump. And like not that I was like in like the defending Trump camp, but it was just it was really funny that they had just developed. Like I need to find this image and show it because it's just it. I think about it every once in a while and I chuckle because it's just I don't know. It's really Colbert Rage Cube. Let's see. Also, do you ever like just stop back and think to yourself, like when you're trying to find like an old meme, like the Boolean search terms you're using when you're trying to look it up on Google or something, you're just like, is this how this is referenced in my brain? Like this is what I think about. Like I'm trying to recall this. I'm using these words, just throwing it out
Honestly,
there.
this is an application for AI
Yeah,
where it's like, hey, I'm gonna like you're doing like some sort of like inverse image discovery via like prompting, right?
yeah. So it was actually for a while it was called Colbert posting. And I can find, okay, I found one. It's not the cube, but this is like an example of what I'm talking about. Let me screen share real quick.
I'm enchanted. I'm
Okay.
enamored. I'd like to see.
So this is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But there were a bunch of different versions of this. There's one where he's like I can't I got to see if I can find more because there were more than just a few. There were dozens. It was one of these things. It was just endlessly being generated for no reason other than autistic people were bored. And I don't know why. That's honestly when I think of Stephen Colbert, that's what I think of. That's what comes up in my head. But I also know that a lot of that shit was scrubbed because he probably did not appreciate that. Yeah, that's the only one I can find at the moment. I gotta find him. I gotta find a way. Oh, wait a minute, Google. Okay, you son of a bitch. No. Okay. All right. Whatever. We get the gist. Just Colbert posting.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I mean, here's the thing: is like if the joke becomes predictable, that's
Mm,
when it stops being funny. Like
yeah.
it's if it was the first time I heard the joke, maybe I'd chuckle
Mm,
at it, right?
mm.
But like if I completely know what the joke is ahead of time, then like,
It's like,
oh well,
yeah. There's an element of surprise, and you gotta be creative. You gotta do new things. You don't want to beat a dead
well,
horse.
there was a recent post or study, I
Mm,
should say, that says that the majority of new language and slang that's being developed is not actually from African American vernacular, but actually coming from right wing
mm.
online memes.
Abe is dead. Long live Abe.
Um,
I also, for a long time, when people would use so AAVE Abe, African American Vernacular English, for a long time I didn't know what the fuck that was, and I thought people were just trying to hail Kaiser just real quick and shit. They're just like, yeah, Ave, and I'm just like, Ave true to Kaiser, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, what are we talking about here?
been so out of the loop, out
This is what happens when you don't
out
watch
among the
any other
spam.
podcasts other than your own and you only consume print media because you can't stand watching videos of people talking. You're just looking at this. It's like, what's that with that Simpsons joke where Marge is like, run like the wind? And it's run like the wind, Mom. I'm sorry, I've only ever read the phrase. I've never said it or heard it. Or something like that.
Yeah. Well, honestly, that's a good that that is a thing to respect in people when
Hmm,
you hear them mispronounce words. That means they've only ever read the word.
fair enough.
Nobody's actually ever said it to them.
So me just
And
sounding like an idiot means I'm smart.
no, yeah, no, exactly. It means you're more well read than everyone around you because nobody's said that word to you before. You've only ever read.
I'm gonna. This is now a core memory. Thank you.
You read more than the people around you. It just means you've only
There's
ever
this other post. There's it was oh wow, okay, hang on. Some 4chan post talking about some like Reddit euphoric atheist guy walking down the street getting caught accosted by like some youths and they're making fun of him And he's like, "Oh, your cruel words don't bother me because I'm stoic." And one of the kids goes, "It's pronounced stoic, idiot." And then it's just then I started crying or something like that. Oh, okay. I love it. I love it when customers text me 2.5 hours after I close, so I can not respond to them until the next day. Because like I've also had I had a customer recently. I don't know if I talked about this. They've had a custom that's gone a little bit over time, which is not my fault. It's the custom house's fault. They texted me at 4:05 on Easter Sunday, like, "Hey, you got any updates?" And I'm just like, "Sir, it's Easter Sunday. Even if you and
4:05
I
in the afternoon
at
or the
four
morning?
4 o'clock in the afternoon. In the morning wouldn't be any more permissible because it's like, why the fuck are you texting me at 4 a.m. on Easter? But 4 o'clock in the afternoon on
4 a.m.
Easter
period
is
is
like, what? Yeah. Like, unless
but
you're in
yet
a different time
Sunday, it's
zone.
like there's you better be buying a Fabergé egg.
Yeah, man, you better be
You're
like,
gonna text-
if you text me at 4 p.m. on Easter, the only thing I want to hear from you is, "Hey, man, I think I'm going to go ahead and order that 3 carat natural," or something like that. Like, if you kind of, "Hey, man, you got an update?" I'm like, "No, I don't. It's Sunday. Even if it wasn't Easter, they're not open. You know that." And
Exactly. Like I've never expected anybody to give me an update on a Sunday,
a
except
4
if it's like
p.m.
a
on a
family member
Sunday.
about like, hey, what time are we meeting up for the
Yeah.
barbecue?
The only exception would be like a doctor is texting a nurse in the ER at 4 p.m. on Easter Sunday, like, "Hey, can I get an update on the patient?" That's where you might see that. But outside of that, I run a fucking jewelry store, motherfucker. Why are you texting me about a ring at 4 p.m. on Easter Sunday? Get real. Get real. Oh. Anything else we want to cover? Anything else?
Uh, I know European governments are disbanding their special forces because they audited them and found out that they were too right wing,
Oh, that's great to do
and
right before the U.S. leaves NATO.
many of them were plotting coups against the government.
Damn, man, so close to being based. But that'll be perfect for when the U.S. actually does pull out of NATO, and then they have no more special forces. It's like, oh shit, hey guys, we fired. Can you come back and save us, please? Oh, I did see a lot of people were worried about the new Hungarian president, and
I haven't. I saw both people black pilling and white pilling
yeah,
about
but he did
this
make a
guy.
statement that if Benjamin Netanyahu happens to set foot in Hungary, he will be arrested immediately. So I feel like that will assuage some fears. Of course, it's like, do you really have the ability to do that? Which probably just posturing, because like I can't see that going well for anybody who actually attempts to do that.
Um, no, it it might go down better than you think. But here's the thing: is that now Benjamin not Netanyahu cannot step foot in Hungary.
Hmm. It's one more
And
state.
there's a lot of countries that the prime minister of Israel cannot
Hmm.
visit
There's like
any
was like
longer.
I think it was like 109 countries, just
Yeah.
about. That's 110 with Hungary, but well,
Uh, yeah,
yeah,
I'm not sure. Aside from I don't know. I've been following a lot of moon stuff lately,
yeah.
and the new blue moon booster and stuff like that. I don't know if that's news that people actually care about.
I
I don't know.
mean,
I need to go talk to Frank again because like he had some guy on his podcast and he made a reel about how the president used a phone to call people on the moon.
hmm,
And he's like, my cell phone doesn't work when I'm driving down the highway. So how could the president call people on the moon?
man.
And I'm like, Geez, just because you're in like a dead spot on the highway, like in a low valley where the hills
Well,
block
I
a
don't
cell
understand
tower.
how you can go out into the woods and dig a well and have water when I walk out into the Sierra Nevada and dig a well and I don't get anything. Like that doesn't seem real to me, man. Before we sign off, we should check the
Are you
comments.
telling me that there was a landline to the moon?
What? That's a really long cable, man. There's not that much copper. That would take all of the copper on the planet to make that work. So that's impossible. So it's fake. Um, Checking the comments. Many such cases. FBI, ATF. Yes, yes. Sorry, guys. We should have been better at checking this stuff.
Oh, I was looking at it a minute ago, but you started going on a thing, and I
uh,
didn't want to interrupt.
oh,
So
so it's my autistic fault. Okay, I just
no,
didn't
it's not your problem. It's I think it's like if we're flowing,
We're
like if
flowing.
we got that surf Dracula thing going, like
Well,
we
this
don't
is the
need to
thing.
circle back,
See, we don't. We need to
especially
circle back.
Leanne.
Also, unlike other episodes, you will just see Dracula surfing. Like it's not going to be like a series of building up, and then you see Dracula surf for 5 seconds in the season finale. You're not. That's not us. We give you the full Dracula, the full everything. Um, Now remember those? He was angry at the crowd for cheering the wrong bit. Right. That's it. That's it. So that was genuine anger
Oh,
at the crowd. That's right. Okay. Yeah. So that'll do it, man. And remember Germany doing that with the GSG. Optics is gonna kill us.
you know, it wasn't the British dissolved SAS battalions because they were too right wing,
Mm,
and Germany did the same, and the French did the same too.
mm. I
Because
wonder if any of those French ones especially
and
were
that this is
responsible.
what I'm talking about. Like when I say like civil war, it's like
Mm,
who's military. Like there's this seesaw of like people who are militarily able to, or like people who are willing to uphold regimes and people
mm,
who are willing to sacrifice a lot to overthrow those regimes.
mm.
And when I talk about a seesaw, I'm talking about people getting off of one end of the seesaw and just sitting on the other end of the seesaw.
Yeah. This is not a fluid
And
motion.
it's they're not two separate groups of people. Hey, it's the same group of people, and it's why Europe has no real military at the
Yeah.
moment. Like the British can't even deploy like a single ship to the Arab Sea to defend British interests in importing oil or something like that when they import like 80+% of their oil.
Mm,
Okay, so what was I remember those? He was wrong for the wrong bit.
mm.
Biceutopia versus chimp dystopia. What does that mean, really?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, wouldn't what is dystopia to the chimp might be utopia to the mice.
Do we not all just stop and look up at a helicopter flying overhead?
Yeah. I mean, I
Are
do.
we're all the same?
We're all the same. Let's see.
For all
Speaking.
the on and off ceasefires are stupid, says
Mm,
Saint Luck. It did let a friend of mine catch a flight out of Jordan. So,
that's good.
yeah, honestly, uh, great for them. But it's like me going on it's like I've always said to every person I've ever talked to, say like, "Oh, I'm going on vacation in Mexico," and I'm like, "You are like one bad week of geopolitics away from being a permanent hostage and having your like scalp cut off."
Yeah, I actually had a mutual on Tumblr. They're still mutuals with me. I will not name her, but she was when the military specific in that like one city, I don't remember the name, but they had like a massive military action against cartel members. She was there and flew out at like 10 in the morning, and then the combat started like an hour and a half later. She was that close to like being stuck there. And I remember looking like those videos of the hotels, and you have all these white tourists like on the top of the infinity pool, and there's like a fucking Black Hawk like diving at the city with explosions going off in the background, and it's just like, welcome to Mexico. Which might
Uh,
actually appeal as tourism to certain groups of people. Like,
you know, privateering, letters of marque and reprisal
hmm,
It's just a very underutilized legal.
That, and I mean, we were
Uh,
talking last time about like pirate hunting and pirate hunting cruises. Like the
yeah,
Russians had that kind of thing, which truly innovative. Like Russians really do, I think, encapsulate a lot of the spirit of Ancapistan. And I feel like that's because they had to live under the Soviet Union for so long. Like it's
right,
nearer and dear to them. It's that theory that like blue state conservatives are way more right wing than like your average right winger in, say, like, I don't know, Montana or something like that. Like not all
right.
cases, but like that guy who has to like be that way in a blue state, he's probably pretty hardcore, like in order to survive.
Well, somebody was talking. I thought I saw posts about like the legal systems
Mm.
of like pre pre war autonomous um uh what are the Donbass
Mm. Mm.
and so pre special military operation Russian
That's
invasion
still going on.
autonomous Donbass was like Ancapistan
Hmm.
basically like they were not operating under the Ukrainian government. They weren't really part of the Russian government. They were very much on like we need citizen militias to defend us from the central government kind of thing. And like, hey, we need as much foreign investment as possible. So like it just accidentally ended up I shouldn't say accidentally. Like they just looked at every single incentive that they had to exist and said, yeah, we're gonna take that option, and it ended up being like it was basically Ancapistan before they got absorbed by the Russian Federation.
Hmm.
But and some people were lamenting that like the Russian Federation, annexed them basically because they were like, hey, we had this like libertarian, republic out on the river, Don out there on the Black Sea. Like it could have been like just let it settle, and then like maybe somebody will recognize the Don Republic in another 5 or 6 years or something like that. I
Mm.
don't know.
I've been looking over like little maps. This is probably something we should cover in another episode because there's not really a whole lot going on, but like it's still just grinding. It's just grinding slowly along, and I don't know, really not a whole lot has changed.
I have to admit I was really wrong because I genuinely thought that at some point like the Ukrainian logistics would just collapse
Mm.
and that the Russians would be able to just steamroll them. But it just seems to be like this infinite meat grinder. Like there's
Yeah.
there's no amount of flesh and electronics and drones and bullets and artillery shells that you can put into this maw that just consumes everything
Mm.
to
Especially, maybe it also makes sense right now that it's just like it's come to this standstill because it is the season of Rasputia, so it's like it's hard to move in the mud. But yeah, it's like it just keeps. Obviously, there's a parallel with World War I, given how trenched it's gotten. But like combined Russian and Ukrainian casualties may be as high as 1.8 million and could reach 2 million total casualties by the spring of 2026. Damn. But this
where
is
they
the
get these people from.
I,
Like
I
I
don't know. Like this is the thing. Like population sizes, Russia has so many more people than Ukraine. You would have thought by now they would have run out of Ukrainians. Like,
well, especially all of them like escaped to Western Europe
yeah.
or the US even.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not even joking. Like I'll go on like a hike to some like destination spot in the Rockies
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just like shoot over my ear and I'm like, that's a fucking Ukrainian.
Yeah. I've seen
I'm
more
like
than a
they're
few of
just
them in
like
Utah.
hanging out in the US. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on. Like
There was one guy when I worked at a gun store. There was a Ukrainian dude who used to come in and shoot all the time. I recognize the little insignia they have. It's like a hammer or something for like their military. But yeah, that's maybe we'll have to cover that in a future episode. We'll have to revisit that and see how it's going. But any closing thoughts?
I
Anything?
I remember one of the first episodes I came on. We did our special military operation takeover
That's
from
right.
that.
That's right. We did. That's right. Yes, that was a fun. That was what was that like a week after we predicted that nothing was going to happen. Oops. Um, that's that was the beginning of our curse, I think, because we predicted wrongly, and they were like, "All right, well now you have to keep having podcast episodes, otherwise things will happen." So I think that's when the Ukrainian war ends, our magic will also go with it. That's how it's going to be. Any closing thoughts? Anything else we want to add before we wrap it up?
No, it's all good. I
We're
think we'll catch up next week, I guess.
absolutely, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another episode of The Altar. Next episode 210, we'll probably talk about Ukraine. We'll probably also talk about the Strait of Hormuz because who knows what's going to happen over there. And we'll cover whatever the hell else happens between now and then. But till now and then, God, we we hope you stay healthy. We hope you stay safe. And as always, happy Earth Day. And as always, taxation is theft.